Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a book review on The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This is a collection of 5 novellas and it is a prequel to the Throne of Glass series. Now the Throne of Glass series is going to be a 6-book series. The 5th book was just recently released back in September, and I thought it was about time that I did a review on The Assassin's Blade. I definitely recommend reading The Assassin's Blade. Usually I'm not really big on prequels and I don't really like reading novellas, but it is really important to Empire of Storms to have read The Assassin's Blade. Now I can't remember exactly when The Assassin's Blade was released, so I'm not exactly positive if it was released before Heir of Fire or if it was released afterwards, but I recommend reading it before Queen of Shadows. You can read it in publication order, or you can read it as, you know, the kind of the beginning before starting the series. It's completely up to you however you prefer to read, but I highly recommend reading it before Queen of Shadows and definitely before Empire of Storms, because in Queen of Shadows, the characters that are in Queen of Shadows are introduced in The Assassin's Blade. I didn't. I actually read it after Queen of Shadows, and I didn't have trouble getting through Queen of Shadows whatsoever. But I kind of wish I had read it maybe before Queen of Shadows, because then I would have already known about some of the characters. Now, for Empire of Storms, there are parts of this book and like plots and conflicts that come back into Empire of Storms and are really important to the plot. So you will be confused if you don't read this before Empire of Storms. Now, I really want to say that I am sorry if this book review is going to be all over the place. It's been a little while since I've read this book, and when it comes to the Throne of Glass series, my thoughts are kind of all over the place because I love this series so much and there's so much I want to say and so much happens and there's so many emotions that it's really hard to get like a really well-flowing review going, so just bear with me. I ended up giving this book a 4 or a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. My favorite novella was definitely The Assassin and the Pirate Lord, which is the first novella, and then I really liked the 4th and the 5th one, which is The Assassin in the Underworld, and then The Assassin and the Empire. The Assassin and the Desert was a really good one as well. I had trouble getting through The Assassin and the Healer. That's the second novella, but I really recommend reading all of them. At first I thought this was going to be about how Selena kind of became an assassin, kind of like her journey to become Ardalan's assassin, but she actually is already the famous assassin, like Ardalan's assassin. We start off with Selena already being like the badass assassin that she is, and we follow her on multiple missions and we see her character really develop. I love Selena so much, and she's so complex, and these novellas allow us to see the complexity to her character. This book brought out so many emotions in me and it definitely made me cry for days. Alright, so we're pretty much gonna jump into the spoilers now, so if you haven't read it, definitely go read it. If you've already read Throne of Glass, then you're not really going to be that spoiled because it pretty much ends where we start at the very beginning of the series with Throne of Glass. Okay, so time for spoilers. Let's just get the big spoiler out of the way. Sam dies. And if you have read Throne of Glass, then you know Sam dies. We know that he is Selena's first love, and he dies, and she gets sent to the salt mines of Endovir at the very end of this book, because that's where she is at the beginning of Throne of Glass. I think the part that really got to me in this book is one of the last things that Selena says. She repeats pretty much what Sam had told her when they were having that discussion about how he keeps himself from being afraid. And he told her he just repeats that his name is Sam Cortland and he won't be afraid. So after Sam is killed and Selena gets sent to the salt mines, as the gates are closing and she is pretty much placed in this prison, she repeats to herself, I am Selena Sardorthian and I will not be afraid. And then tears just started flowing. I love Sam so much. If he were still alive, I think I would ship him and Selena. Their trust, their compatibility, they worked so well together. And I actually really liked that Sam and Selena weren't friends at the beginning. When the book first starts at the very first novella, which is The Assassin and the Pirate Lord, we are in the Assassin's Keep, and it's Selena with all the other assassins, including Arobin and Sam. And her and Sam are not getting along, and you realize that they are not friends, which I really liked because we get to see the development of trust and friendship and the romance between Sam and Selena. So the very first mission Selena is sent on is to Skulls Bay, and she has to go deal with Pirate Rolf. He is the Pirate Lord of Skulls Bay, and she is forced to go with Sam. Now, she is definitely not pleased about this. This was my favorite novella. Sam and Selena's trust really start to build. Definitely not romantic, but they start to learn to trust each other. They're sent there on an errand for Arobin, and Selena basically realizes that what they're there for is the trading of slaves, and she decides that she wants to free these slaves. She thinks that she's gonna do this on her own, and then Sam, of course, picks up on it, and we realize that Sam is very smart, and he kind of keeps Selena level-headed, because Selena can be very hot and cold. Her emotions just flip like a switch. He jumps on board with helping her release the slaves. Their plan goes to hell the second they start putting it into action. Rolf learns what they're doing, pretty much intercepts Selena in the process of trying to free the slaves. Sam ends up getting hurt, and she actually thinks Sam ends up dying because he's on the tower. He's supposed to be the one to take out the gate so that the slaves can sail free on the ship, and the tower ends up getting taken out, and Sam is on that tower. So Selena thinks that he gets hurt, and she realizes how much she actually trusted him and how much she actually cared for him. I think that's good. She's finally starting to realize that she doesn't have to do things on her own. She and Rolf end up battling it out, which I really like, because up until this moment, Selena has always worn a mask because she didn't want anyone to know her face. She is the assassin of Ardalan. She is Arobin's protege, the best assassin in the world. But, you know, her face is kept a secret so that no one can really know who she is. And to distract Rolf in order to save Sam, she takes off her mask, and he gets pissed because he realizes she's like a 16-year-old girl, and he is so mad. So they start battling it out. Of course, Selena ends up having a sword against his throat, and she makes him sign a paper saying that he will never again work with exchanging, buying, selling, anything that has to do with slaves. Of course, he gets really, really pissed off, but he ends up signing it because he has a dagger to his throat, and he realizes that Selena is not an enemy you want. So he signs it. So of course this messes up the plan that Arobin had with Rolf, with the slaves. Selena at this point thinks that Arobin is, you know, she kind of looks up to him. She thinks that, you know, she's his favorite, no harm can come to her. She's like, don't worry, Sam, I'll take care of it. Like, he's not gonna hurt me. Well, we go into the next novella, and this is The Assassin and the Healer. And we see Selena in this bar, and she is pretty much waiting for a ship in order to go to the Red Desert, which is in the next novella, as her punishment for messing up things at Skulls Bay. Now her face is all bloodied up. She's just really badly beaten, and we see via flashbacks what happened when her and Sam got back to the Assassin's Keep. Pretty much, Arobin was so pissed off of what happened, how she freed the slaves, and he beat her up, and pretty much like she passed out. He almost beat her to death. and he made Sam watch kind of as punishment. So now she's in this bar, pretty much letting the time go by, waiting to be sent to the Red Desert, and she ends up stopping an attack against the barmaid from these like 3 drunk men. She ends up getting hurt, and so the barmaid tries to help her and heal her, and they kind of get to know one another. So this is kind of like the first time Selena kind of makes another, kind of befriends another female, and she realizes that no woman should be defenseless, and she tries to teach Irene how to defend herself if she ever gets attacked again. So we realize that Selena really isn't that bad of a person. Yes, she's an assassin. Yes, she's hurt a lot of people and she's killed people, but most of the people that she's killed are bad guys. Like, they're not good people. So, you know, freeing the slaves, helping Irene just really shows how much she cares about others. She has this want to protect those that can't protect themselves. She ends up giving Irene money to get away from this bar and make a better life for herself. Okay, so on to the next novella. This is The Assassin and the Desert. Yes, okay. So Selena gets sent to the Red Desert, where she must train with the master of the Mute Master? Yes, so she must train with the Mute Master. Arobin thinks this is a punishment for her, but she actually ends up learning a lot, and she ends up making a really good alliance with the Silent Assassins. She befriends one of the assassins, Ansel, and this is where she starts to have her first true friendship. Her and Ansel become really close. They're bonding. They have girl conversations, they do makeup together, they talk about boys, they train together. So she truly thinks Ansel is one of like her dear friends. Turns out Ansel ends up betraying them to the Lord Barrick, which I believe is another League of Assassins that have been trying to kill the Mute Master and take over the Silent Assassins for a while. She kills her love interest and she hurts Elias, who is the Mute Master's son. Now, Elias and Selena kind of had a little flirting going on. They almost kissed. And this is when you learn that Selena had never actually kissed someone before. That was really interesting to me. It really stuck, that one scene, because she has done so much. She has killed people, she's gone on these really dangerous missions, but she's never kissed a boy. You forget how young she is. She's 16 years old. So she's able to stop Ansel from killing the Mute Master, and her and Ansel end up kind of fighting it out, but she ends up sparing her life. This kind of really resonates with the Mute Master, and he breaks his vow of silence to tell her how he appreciates her saving him and saving his son. Selena now has the Silent Assassins on her side, and they have a debt to repay with her. Finally, the Mute Master tells her she shouldn't be treated the way Arobin treated her, and she's better than that. So when she goes back to the Assassin's Keep, back to Rift Hold, she decides that she is going to leave the Assassin's Keep and leave basically Arobin and all of the assassins. And then of course, Sam pretty much intertwines into her plans. The fourth and the fifth novella is where her and Sam become closer, and this is where she gets captured and just so much happens. She goes back to the Assassin's Keep, and Arobin is trying to buy back her forgiveness. He gives her gifts, dresses, and jewelry. She accepts it, but in her mind she knows she's leaving. She buys an apartment to keep her away from Arobin. She wants nothing to do with him anymore. Now, it's been a couple months since her and Sam had any sort of contact. Once they got back from their mission at Skulls Bay, they both got beaten pretty badly, and Selena got shipped off to the Red Desert. So Sam has just been waiting for her to come back, making sure she's safe. And this is where we're first introduced to Lysandra. She is a courtesan in Clarice's brothel. And Sam pretty much feels bad for Lysandra because that's what his mom was. He has kind of like that need to protect her, but Selena and Lysandra do not get along, and she resents Sam for being friendly with her. And they end up having a conversation later on, and I think this is where things really turned around between them. Her and Sam are pretty much like yelling at each other, and Sam is telling her how could she so easily forgive Arobin for what he did to her. And then finally Sam tells her, "You want to know what price I asked for forgiving Arobin, Selena? My price was his oath that he'd never lay a hand on you again. I told him I'd forgive him in exchange for that." Pretty much Selena goes silent, and she wished he pretty much had just punched her in the gut because that would have hurt less. That's really when she realizes that Sam really cares for her. In the meantime, Arobin sends her on another mission in Rifthold, but she ends up getting caught and she's thrown into the sewers. She's pretty much drowning, and Sam ends up saving her. Then we get to my favorite scene between Sam and Selena. Oh my goodness, tears are starting. So Selena and Sam go back to the sewers to try and like piece together some information about the mission that they're on. Sam tells her that he is leaving. He was only waiting for her to come back from the Red Desert to make sure that she was safe, and he no longer wants to be under Arobin, so he's decided that he is leaving. And Selena realizes she wants him to stay. She pretty much begs him to stay. She says, "You can't go. If you go, what was the point in any of this? Why can't you just let it go?" And then he yells, "Because I love you." Oh my god, I'm so sad Sam dies. He knows that if Selena had to choose between Arobin and him, she would choose Arobin. This is probably my favorite line in the entire book. Selena responds with, "You're a damn idiot," she breathed. "You're a moron and an ass and a damned idiot." He looked like she had hit him, but she went on and grasped both sides of his face. "Because I'd pick you." And then she kissed him. So now Sam and Selena are officially a team, and their trust just builds stronger and stronger. Selena tells Sam that he can move in with her. They're gonna try and find a way to repay his debt to Arobin and get him away from the Assassin's Keep, and he can just live with her. In the meantime, Arobin doesn't know like that the two of them are plotting leaving. He's having this extravagant assassin suit made for them, and Selena slips a piece of spider silk web to the seamstress and tells him to sew it into the suit and put it over Sam's heart. That part just made me melt. She had obtained that spider silk web for herself, and instead she is giving it to protect Sam. Now things get really intense. Selena and Sam leave the Assassin's Keep. Arobin is pissed. Selena and Sam decide that they want to go on like one more mission. They want to take down Farron. To be quite honest, I don't really remember exactly why. I think Arobin convinces them to go on to this mission. Turns out that the entire thing was just a trick, and one night when Sam doesn't come home, Selena gets really worried. She goes to the Assassin's Keep and she pretty much finds Sam's just beaten, tortured body, and she just breaks down. Things just got so sad from there because things just got worse and worse and worse. Arobin tells her that it was Farron who tortured Sam, and Selena is so distraught because as she was pretty much sitting around her apartment, Sam was being tortured and killed, and it just kills her inside. So she snaps and she runs and she is going after Farron. Her desire is to kill him. The second she jumps into the open window of his apartment or his house, she realizes it's a trick, and she's captured by the king's guards, and she is on her way to Endovir. I don't remember exactly, but we know Sam dies, but I don't think we know specifically if it was Arobin that was the reason that Sam was killed and that Celaena was sent to the salt mines. But at the very end of the Assassin's Blade, him and Farron are watching Celaena in the wagon getting shipped to Endovir, and Farron asks like if they're gonna go after the wagon. Arobynn responds with obviously not, even though Arobynn knows he could rally all the assassins and they could save her from getting sent. And then finally Farron asks, why did you do it? And Arobynn responds with, because I don't like sharing my belongings. So that's when we realize that Arobynn is the reason Sam is dead. Arobynn is the reason that Celaena was sent to the salt mines, although I don't think Celaena truly knows. Okay guys, I really hope you enjoyed this review. Comment down below, let me know what you guys thought of the Assassin's Blade. I want to know what you think would be a good time to read the Assassin's Blade, whether you think it's in publication order before even starting the series, or if you think you should just read it before Queen of Shadows. I hope you have a great night, and I will see you next time in another video. Bye!